This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
Happy Victory Monday, or Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending when you listen to this. Welcome to the Mess Hall. It's your boy Tailgate Ted, joined as always by my man Rally Captain.
Yo, Ted, I got to tell you, that intro was funky because just like left, right, that's how we marched into FedEx Field. So I'm not gonna keep you, but just let's get it right now. I mean, I'm bursting at the seams to talk about this.
I'm right there with you, man. Week one of the NFL season's finally behind us, and I'm happy to say I was wrong. I had the Commanders losing yesterday. You had them winning. So that's perfectly fine with me. I am happy to be wrong. Glad you got that dub the first week. The boys pulled it out. I ain't gonna lie, though, when it was 12-14, I'm thinking to myself, Vegas has a crystal ball because the spread dropped to 2.5 points. And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. Here we go again. What the hell are we setting ourselves up for another long season? But man, I am happy I was wrong.
Thank goodness, because that also goes into my win column for my bet that I have with DraftKings, baby.
There you go, man. There you go. I'm thinking, what were your initial thoughts of the game? I mean, when I got out there, it was 7:30 in the morning. I couldn't see more than 2 parking spaces out my windshield. It was just a monsoon of rain. I wasn't looking forward to being out there for the actual tailgate just because I knew I was going to get poured on all day. I had maybe 4 or 5 layers of like dry gear to try and keep me, dry so I didn't walk into the game soaked or catch pneumonia. But when you got to the stadium, what were you thinking?
When I got to the stadium, I pulled into the red zone lot and it wasn't raining. I mean, we had just maybe a couple little drizzles here and there, but nothing too much. And for once, I didn't pull in and just see a sea of different colors. And because the Jaguars were teal, I'll say I didn't see a sea of teal. I saw a lot of burgundy and gold, brother, and that's what I always have wanted to see.
No, it was awesome, man. I only saw one Jags fan at my tailgate. I don't know who lost a bet and had to bring this person or who he was married to. I made sure I had my wallet when I got home, but I only saw one Jags fan there. And in my section, I saw more Cowboys and Giants fans than Jaguars fans. So it was nice to actually have burgundy and gold surrounded by us.
You know what? And that brings up another point, brother. And I'll get back to the teal that I did see. How many times have we heard FedEx Field is a dump? Don't go there. But at the same time, like you, I had Cowboys in my section. I had Steelers in my section. I had Tampa Bay in my section, believe it or not.
Really?
So it's like, if this stadium is such a dump, why are you patronizing this dump? So miss me with it. Is it, and I'll say the same thing that I said to Brian Mitchell and JP Finley. Is it the best? By no means, but it's not that bad. And the people who are voting, I believe, once again, this is just another one of those dump on DC type of things. But I'm not going to harp on that. What I'm going to say is this. So I sit in section 132, row 1, and to my right was the visitor sideline. They did actually have a lot of teal mixed in throughout the crowd on that visitor sideline. And they got pretty loud. I was surprised to see as many people from Jacksonville or representing Jacksonville. So I was actually happy to see that because naturally I want to see all burgundy and gold. But my hat's off to fans that come in to visit, because what do I do? I visit other stadiums. So I always want to see what it looks like, the demographics, and then breakdown of who actually is coming to pay homage to their team.
Yeah, I'm never going to disrespect someone that paid money to come to a game. I used to travel to away games. I used to go to a ton of them, never at your level, but I've knocked 20 stadiums off my list back in the day. and I miss doing it. And I always loved different atmospheres because people were always nice depending on which stadium you walked into. I've been to Philly maybe close to 24 times, and I've actually never had a problem in Philly. And I always wore my gear.
Yeah.
I always represented. The thing is, I always sat in the very first couple rows, and I always used the family bathroom. So I made sure people in those rows, they don't want to lose their tickets. They don't want to lose the privilege of having those seats. So they're not going to pick a fight with you. Yeah. And if you use that family bathroom, you can lock it behind you. So you don't got to worry about someone messing with you when you got to hit the can.
You brought up a good point. And Ted, I've always tried to tell people, and the people who ask me about going to Philly on my bus trips, I tell them, listen, where we sit is kind of like a black tie affair, if you will, you know, where you paid $500 for a meal. Have you ever seen a fight in a black tie affair? Maybe once, maybe, but the fact is you don't want to lose that privilege, like you said, and you're not going to do something stupid to get kicked out of a $500 dinner event, if you will. Now, I'm not saying that the tickets that we are spending are $500, but the fact is we're in the lower rows, and because of that, like you said, people just don't, on average, try to mess with you. Now, what they will do, they'll jaw jack you. They will talk bad about you, whatever have you, but that's as far as they go. So come on with the events on the bus trip. Exactly. There you go.
I just ignore them. I pretend I don't speak English at that point, and I just keep looking at the field. And then when the game's over, I wave goodbye to them. So it is what it is, man.
Wait. Back up. So you think
you heard me?
I heard you, but my question is, so what do you say if they say you don't speak English? What language do you profess that you know?
Oh, I just don't say anything to them. You know, I don't drink beers at away games. I need my senses all around me. I make sure that, you know, I've got all my faculties. So I'm just hanging out and I'm watching the team and I'm yelling and making noise. And that's about it. So other than that, you know, I'll be in Chicago for that road game. Cool. I'll be yelling and screaming. But, you know, if someone tries to have a conversation with me that's wearing a Bears jersey and I don't know them, no comprende. You know,
okay. I got you. Well, see, unlike you, I talk to everybody and I let everybody know I'm not here for the foolishness, guys. I'm here just to root my team on and go home. And what I tell them is, I took this from my man, Carlton Bubba Skins. This is just a 3.5-hour disagreement. That's all it is. So, you know, I just want to root for my team and go home.
Well, I mean, I'm going to disagree. I love me some Bubba. But for me, if you're wearing silver and blue, it's a lifetime disagreement. It ain't no 3.5 hours. I don't trust the decisions you make in your life. I don't trust you. You obviously made a couple of wrong ones. And, you know, we're just going to have to agree to disagree for a lifetime. And that's fine with me.
Okay.
You know, it's just those people up in Philly, they think they're coming down here in a couple of weeks. I actually got text messages from old coworkers I had in Philly about that mug that came out on social media of the Commanders logo with a picture of the silhouette of Washington State saying, "Can you believe this?"
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Once again, this ain't Ted or Rally Captain hating on the Commanders. This is the Commanders doing it to themselves. So you guys can't say you guys are hating. The fact is, whoever is making these decisions, I don't know, but whoever it is, come on, guys.
No, it did come out that the mug was not being sold in the stadium. It was on a truck outside. I don't know if this was a bootleg truck. I don't know if this was someone that pulled up that had a bunch of t-shirts in their truck bed or what, but it was not actually for sale inside. And I got that thing texted and tweeted to me easily 36 times yesterday.
Well, good. Then I take back what I said, but even still, to a small degree, because we've had some mess ups before. So if that wasn't truly from the Commanders, then hey, the rally captain can admit when he's wrong, and I don't have a problem. So my hat goes off to you, and I apologize to the Commanders.
But no pipes burst, no railings fell over.
Nope.
There were no major catastrophes. We
Nope.
didn't hear that god-awful Whitney Houston national anthem fight song.
Nope.
I mean, initial thoughts of the game, I was happy, man. I mean, regardless of what the score would have ended up, it was just a fun day. It was good to be back out there with the fans. I had a blast.
Man, for the first time since, I'm going to say, realistically, 2012, I felt some semblance of home. I mean, actually being home. The crowd was loud, and because of the crowd, it caused Jacksonville to have several false starts, which I don't know the last time we've had that realistically. And I was just saying to myself, what aura we are having at FedEx Field. And I'm sure the people who have the condominiums down Gary Morgan could even hear it. I mean, because it was the loudest that I've heard FedEx realistically since 2012. So, man, my hat's off to the fans that came and supported, that came out in the rain because they were threatening the fact that we were going to have basically a monsoon that day. And then what happened? It was like the good Heavenly Father opened up the sky and let the sun come out and shine on the Commanders, brother. I couldn't believe it, man.
I couldn't either, man. Everybody wanted to be at the first game. It's the inaugural game of the Commanders. So I feel that a lot of fans that aren't season ticket holders, like, I've got to buy a ticket. I've got to get that. I had to ask Mrs. Tailgate, you don't come to games in September. I know it's too hot. Can you please come to this one? Because it would mean a lot to me that you're there witnessing it in person. So the paid attendance for that game was 58,192. I don't think that's how many people showed up, but it was 58,192.
Well, I got to tell you, man, from my viewpoint, I asked the people to the left of me and the people to the right of me. I said, hey, how many people do you think are in the stadium? And I'd say 3 out of 4 said roughly 50,000, 55,000. I said 55 to 60. That's what I said. And so the mere fact that you're saying 58, I'm going to stick with 58. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Go get a Powerball ticket, man, because you hit it. You're pretty dang close. So, but the vibe that was there, the people that were there, everybody was great. It was loud. There were times where people don't know when to cheer. We've talked about this before, and thank goodness the team brought out quiet offense at work. But at a certain point, you should understand, we went for 2 twice. We just scored a touchdown. Everyone's excited. We're all happy. It's amazing. It doesn't happen that often. We're going for 2 people. Understand, shut the hell up. They need to hear. And the players are on the field doing this, asking people to be quiet. It's just certain things like that. It's Victory Monday, so I'm not trying to get nitpicky. But we got to act like we've been there before. Yeah. And that's part of being a winning franchise and a winning fan base. So for those of you that are listening, down in distance, know what's going on. If a player's hurt, you don't cheer, regardless of what team it is. And when your offense is on the field, try and keep it down. There were some old heads behind me that were yelling curse words at some of these fans that you could tell had never been to a game before, screaming, shut the F up. And I can't say it was the 2-down conversion that we didn't get, but the one that we did, I was a little bit concerned on that one. Luckily, Carson bought himself some time and hit JD coming across, but it was close, man. It was close.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you remember this group called The Time with Morris Day?
Oh, yeah.
And they had this song called The Bird. Well, that's how I looked in my end zone. I'm waving my hand, both of my hands, like, calm down. We're on offense. Calm down. So it wasn't good. And then finally, they understood, but it took them, like you said, we're not going to down what's going on Victory Monday, but we got to talk about the good and bad because this is the DMV Mess Hall and we get down and dirty with both sides of it. So you like it or you don't, but that's the real of the DMV Mess Hall. So yeah, I had to tell people, hey, calm down. And they did. And like you said, it was great to see the signboards that said quiet offense at work, and people understood, but we were excited.
If that's one of the biggest things I can complain about on a day, then I'm fine with it. But we actually, we ask for feedback from people. We've got a voicemail number up. We actually got a voicemail I'm going to play for you. Our man Lloyd decided to leave us a message here. So let me hit this real quick.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today? I just wanted to give y'all a major shout out, man, for the podcast. Y'all doing a great job. Definitely want to salute y'all. First I want to give you my prediction, and also congratulations on the new sponsor and all that. But I want to give y'all my prediction on what I think the season's going to be. I think we're going to start off 2-2. I think we're going to split with Detroit and Jacksonville, and also I think we're going to split with the Eagles and also the Cowboys. But also, man, we can't. I know y'all trying to give Kendall Fuller a pass, man. We can't give him no pass. That whole secondary stinks. They need that. Some type of communication issue. They need to get it together. Fellas, y'all have a great day and continue doing a great job. Matter of fact, it's Lloyd. All right, have a good one.
So I really appreciate that, Lloyd. Thanks for calling in and leaving that voicemail for us. And for anyone else that wants to do that, shoot us a text, give us a phone call, leave that message at 202-677-5860, and we'll play it on the show coming up. But I asked for some fan feedback online, and I got a couple of tweets back. I don't know if people are too scared to hear their voice over their phones or what, but Billy Peter Martin on Facebook said, scary. I was thinking it could have been a loss, especially Wentz. Don't trust him. If that was a better team, I think the outcome would have not turned out. Overall, Gibson did not fumble and was nice to see them win. This team can give you a heart attack. Can't wait for the return of Chase Young. Great job by William Jackson, solid performance, and Jay Allen as well. Dotson was great. Get the ball to the 17, but I guess was a decoy, but outcome was a great one. Bostic not involved. LOL. So I appreciate that, Billy, for leaving that. And then we got a couple more here.
Appreciate that, Billy.
Kevin Neto on Twitter just sent a roller coaster emoji. And I'm telling you, man, I agree with you. It was just ups and downs. And at a certain point, the wife asked me what was wrong. I actually looked at her and said, I hate being right sometimes, because I felt that game was slipping away and Jacksonville was about to take it. But man, I enjoy being wrong, especially on a victory Monday.
Definitely.
We got Tay Wilson here saying, just glad the place was jumping. Guess as long as we win, nobody will complain about the beer. So Tay's referencing everyone yelling and screaming about us having the most expensive beer price in the NFL, which was wrong. And then Mike Scaff on Twitter said, solid win. Very concerned about our defense, especially in coverage. Sound system still doesn't work in the upper level, section 401. This is irrelevant to the game, but the field paint was very dull. You could see the hash marks through the logo at the field. Mike, if the sound and the hash marks are all we got to complain about, like Riley and I said earlier, with people not being quite on offense, then it was a good day. But I will give your feedback to the team and let them know that they got to do something about those speakers and that hash. But I'm curious what your initial thoughts were from the game.
Initially, I said, is this the Commanders showing up on a drive and we were up 14-3? What am I seeing here? And then all of a sudden, Curtis fumbles the ball and Jacksonville makes light of that. And I said, oh no, man, don't do this to us. Come on, don't do this to us. We've been here before. And but then we turned it around, and then all of a sudden 2 interceptions, and I said, oh no, come on, guys. Come on, we fought too hard. This is not what we heard all offseason, training camp, preseason. This is not what we heard. We're going right back to our old selves, whether it be the Redskins, the Washington football team, and now the Commanders. Come on, don't do this to us. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what they talked about on the sidelines, but we see 17 going for $1. We see Jahan going for $1. Pay dirt. I was elated. But before that, I was just like, oh man, here we go again. And that's honestly what I thought, man. What about you?
So I think that's what our season's going to be. I think Carson Wentz, and we all saw it, and people were talking about it, his inaccuracy during training camp. OTAs, he was 100% on. Training camp, he looked off. Mm-hmm. And he looked off at times during preseason. And people criticized him. he looked off in the beginning of the game. He had a couple of layups, if you will, that, a couple of outs that he just overthrew guys. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Because we saw him missing high during camp. Thinking, all right, well, hopefully he settles down. Because we talked about it last week. Scott Turner has got to get him settled and got to get him some easy throws. So he had a couple of dinks and dunks here, a lot of misdirection to keep the defense off. And I feel that Doug Peterson and their defense, they made some adjustments and they kind of gauge where Carson was going. That interception that he threw that deep out to Terry, he stared him down the entire way. And Rivera talked about it today that Carson was going through his progressions. I don't know what progressions he was going through because he just stared at Terry the entire time. It's like a supermodel just walked into the locker room and everybody's neck just turned and just focused the entire time when he was looking at that ball. I'm thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. Here we go again.
Yeah.
But teams of the past would have basically collapsed. These guys, they've got a ton of talent, so much talent on offense that they can afford versus a lesser opponent to do things like that. If we played a legit team and you lose that turnover battle, which we did, we had 2 picks and a fumble, 9 out of 10 times you're not winning that game. No. So sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. And we were lucky yesterday.
We were very lucky because the 4th down that he threw and it was Etienne, and if I butchered your name, I apologize, but Lawrence threw it to Etienne and he just dropped it, and I was like, oh my God, But last week, Ted, we talked about who Wild needed to step up, and he really didn't step up.
So your Woodbridge signature player of the week last week was Jamin Davis, and thank you to Woodbridge Collectibles that jumped on board with us. I actually saw Rudy at the tailgate. He sent me a text and asked if he could come through, and I gave him a shaking my head emoji. He's like, dude, your family, just walk on up here. But we appreciated that. But yeah, you took Jamin. Jamin played 93% of the snaps. John Bostic had 0 snaps, and David Mayo had 0 snaps. Cole Holcomb had 100%. So they were in nickel 93% of that time, and they went to dime. And for those that don't know, nickel is 5 DBs, whether you're talking corners or safeties, and dime is 6, which means you've got 1 linebacker inside there, or they might have switched. I know at one point they went to 5 defensive linemen, and they took Jamin out. But it was frustrating because I don't want to put all of it on Jamin. I think some of it was the scheme. Del Rio and, Doug Peterson and the Jags, they get paid to look for mismatches.
Right.
But Jamin was isolated on Christian Kirk. And we talked about Kirk during our preview last week. Man, there were a couple times when if Lawrence could have hit him, it would have been 6. And we lucked out that Jamin wasn't there. And this was actually Rivera's kind of post-game review on Jamin.
What do you think of Jamin Davis today? You go back and look at the tape, but what's your thoughts on this?
Jamin had his moments. He really did. There was a couple of mistakes he made that I know Jack wasn't happy about, but for the most part, he came up. He was physical. He made some plays. He got ISO'd a couple times. That we got to find ways to correct that. We can't let him get ISO'd on slot receivers, that's something that we have to be well aware of.
So Jamin had 3 tackles, 3 solo tackles. But he had 3 tackles. I need my linebackers to have more than 3 tackles. I mean, the Jags had 70 plays on offense.
Yeah.
And this guy had 3. Now, granted, Cole Holcomb had 5. So it's not like he had a ton. And usually your safeties and kind of your linebackers are leading. But I was disappointed with what I saw from Jamin. I would like to see more. And it concerns me for the Lions. But, for this game, we made it out with a W. And
that's right.
We won. So I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but ooh.
Well, I just remember seeing a coach. I don't know which coach it was because it was too far away from my seat, but just giving him a ton of pointers and trying to, get him to do something different. I mean, I obviously couldn't read his lips, but just body language and his way he was positioning his hands and trying to get him to do certain things. And I'm saying, man, you know, if this was that television show, you are the weakest link, goodbye type of thing. I mean, I hate that for the kid, but at the same time, how much time are you going to give him before you say, okay, enough's enough? Because like you said, Detroit isn't like the Jaguars. They just aren't. And they gave Philly a run for their money. And so I know that Detroit is going to want to run the ball. But we're not going to get on that. That's for a later episode. But the things that I did like, Jahan, Curtis, Antonio, Deron Payne. Man, that's what I liked.
So before you start rallying off all the names on the starting offense and defense, you know, let's just say you got your rally chain. Everyone sees you wearing that chain at the games, in the stands, hanging out there. What player on offense and what player on defense would you let wear that chain this week for that victory Monday?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ted, because only the players get to wear the rally chain anyway. But for this special occasion, because we're not giving game balls, we're letting you wear the rally chain. To me, the rally chain is much more significant than the game ball. I'm going to let Jahan Dotson, the rook who scored 2 TDs, he gets to wear the rally chain. That's my offensive player. My defensive player who gets to wear the rally chain is big man Deron, because he showed out this game just from what I saw. And if I could give an honorable mention who will wear it, it will be Forrest, 22.
Man, you're taking all the players now, man. That's not fair.
Oh, my
but
bad,
no, I'm
bro.
right there with you. Jahan, 2 touchdowns on 5 targets, 3 catches for 40 yards. And I got a couple of clips here on Jahan. So this is Carson Wentz talking about Dotson.
Was Jahan the first look there on the game-winning touchdown? And if so, what does it mean to have, you know, him, a rookie, be the first look on that play?
Yeah, he was. And it was a double move. He ran a great route, and I think coach just feeling the timing for that double move. And like I said, just having a lot of confidence in him to just put it out there, give him a chance. And the play he made was unbelievable.
Those of you watching this on YouTube or just listening to us, so I'm going to put this on our YouTube channel, and you'll actually see clips of the different plays on there. So make sure to subscribe and give that a follow. But the fact that your rookie wide receiver is your first option on such a meaningful play just shows the trust that they have. And hearing some of the guys break it down, if you look at the video, and once again, it'll be on our YouTube, Jahan never turned his head back until the last second. Because if he did, that defender would have known the ball was coming and would have been able to bat that down. And Carson talks about it here on this one.
And the game winner to Dotson, just the trust in a rookie lofting one up like that. How do you know he's going to be there and come up big for you?
Heck of a play. I mean, I don't think it was a very good throw. I just said, give this kid a shot. And, I mean, I've seen him do that in OTAs. You know, once at the end when he got there, I saw him do it all training camp. I'm just glad that the world gets to see what he can do now, too. And so for me, just giving him a chance, the way he made that play, I think often goes overlooked how he did that, slowed up, kind of laid hands, all of that. Incredible play by the rookie. It was awesome.
That's not something you see out of a kid that's playing in his first NFL game ever. And I wasn't happy about the Dotson pick when it happened at the draft. I remember standing next to Mrs. Snyder and giving a fake smile when it happened, because his ceiling isn't as high. He's ready now. But what this team needs is someone that is ready now. And he showed it. He definitely has the poise and can live in that limelight. And I couldn't be happier for the kid.
Yeah, man. The thing about it is this, Ted. He did it multiple times at Penn State, that is. He did it multiple times. And so the fact is, when you get these guys who can do it on the big stage in college, it's only a matter of time before they can transition and do it on the NFL stage, a bigger stage. So, and we've seen it And like Carson said, I don't know how many clips we saw of the deep ball, somebody throwing him a deep ball and him coming down and catching it. So it was just a matter of time before he actually did it in a true game. So Jahan, you get to wear the rally chain, brother.
And let me tell you, Rally is serious about this. I was out at training camp with him, and a couple of fans were asking, "Hey, can I put that chain on?" And you were respectful, but you're like, "Nah, only the players get to wear this chain." So screw game balls. I want to wear that chain. It makes me want to put my cleats back on because we might need help at defensive tackle now that Phil Mathis is out for the season. But
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. Another blow, man. Another blow. But go ahead.
No, shoot.
I was just going to say that I think that our recruiters that we we've got backfill. That's the one thing that I am happy about, because even though he went out, we still were able to step up and show out.
We did, but the stepping up and showing out was more so Duran playing for that contract. And you mentioned Duran earlier. He actually got the second highest PFF grade at 76.7. So we had 3 quarterback hits, 1 sack, 3 tackles, and 3 tackles, 2 solo, and 1 tackle for loss. But I was rewatching the game film, and he had a chess match going on with Brandon Sheriff. I mean, those guys practice against each other for years. They know each other's moves. And there were a couple times there where he knew exactly what he was doing to set Brandon up, and on that sack in particular. And it was a sight to see. And I didn't think the team was going to pay Duran this offseason. You are on record saying you do think they're going to, but I feel that it's tough to do that when you've got a Chase Young, you've got a Montez Sweat, and you've got some other people you got to take care of. But now that Phil Mathis is done for the year, unfortunately, for the young man, I think their backup plan was to have Mathis fill that Payne role. Well, that backup plan just went out the window. You let go of Ioannidis, you let go of Settle. Now you got Daniel Wise and F.A. Obata as your depth. And I'm a little bit worried about how that interior is going to do, because Duran did play. Let's see here. Duran had, hold on, should have had it in front of me, 79% of those snaps. You typically don't give that many snaps to your interior defensive lineman, especially in September when they're still kind of getting into game shape. So it'll be curious to see how much he does stay out there as we kind of keep track of this now that Mathis is done.
But also, what else does that tell you, Ted? That also tells me the fact that they have faith in the young man to be able to do that. And you mentioned a big thing, NFL shape. That tells me that Duran came into camp, into preseason, ready to ball. Screw all that other nonsense. It's a contract year. He's about his money. That tells me he came to be with it, and he showed it. So my hat goes off to that young man. Once again, Duran Payne, you get to put on the rally chain.
So on my side, I was going to say who gets to wear the chef hat, but man, let's stick with that rally chain. I don't wear no hats when I'm out there cooking. But I was going to say on offense, for me, it's got to be Curtis Samuel. I'm sorry, but seeing Curtis out there and knowing that the plan or whatever they had, which I think they were making up as they went along, worked for game one. The fact that Curtis, had 8 catches, that's the most he's actually had in a game. Let's see here. Curtis actually was 8 for 55 with a touchdown. Yeah, he had that fumble, but 4 carries for 17 yards. I think they were trying to go to the well a little too much on some of those inside rushes. I'd rather see him run outside. I'd rather see that reverse that they gave to Jahan go to Curtis instead of Jahan, because he hit that spin button like you're playing Madden and just juke that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I listened to London and Julian Bram at the broadcast when I'm out there, and London Fletcher actually said that boy left his jockstrap on the field. And I didn't think you could actually say jockstrap on the air in a broadcast.
Oh, that's not a bad word.
London don't care. I mean, what are they going to do? But man, Curtis, it was so nice to see this in person, because we hear about it in practice. And Rivera has talked about that move he made on that one defender during training camp, but to actually see it in a game. Curtis had 6 catches all of 2021. That's 6 catches in 5 games. He had 8 yesterday. And to know as an opposing defensive coordinator, I've got a game plan for Curtis Samuel and Jahan and for Terry, not knowing who's going to get the ball or what's going to happen or where Curtis is going to line up. I got a headache just trying to think about that. And my hat goes off to him for being ready and showing why Washington gave him all that money. I just need to see it on a consistent basis from him to make sure this wasn't a one-week wonder, because he got the most targets this week. I was actually surprised. Curtis got targeted 11 times. The second amount of targets was Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas at 6, Jahan at 5, and Terry at 4. So it was obvious that they had a game plan to make sure they got Curtis involved. And we all know how Carson loves his tight ends, but Curtis ain't a tight end, not by any means. He went to him the most. So I think they tried to make sure they stood away from those tendencies that Doug Peterson knows Carson likes, and they made sure to give him that ball.
Man, someone said to me in the stands, did I just see a number 10 sighting, a Curtis Samuel sighting? And I said, I think you did. And then the next thing you know, it was another play to Curtis and another play to Curtis and another play. And we were like, well, God dog it, he must be truly healthy. Let's let that young man eat. I was happy and ecstatic because, like you said, for so many years, these last 2 years, we're like, where is this guy? And even in the beginning of camp, we were saying, not again. Come on, not again. I mean, we've just been beat down to death with not again. And I was happy that he got his touches. They spread the ball around. And man, I got to tell you, bro, I actually can't wait till later this week with Detroit to see how we confuse these guys.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, Scott Turner called a heck of a game. There was a ton of misdirection. You didn't really know at times where it was going to go, other than that one interception Carson had on that screen. And Rivera cracks me up because during his press conference today, and I should have cut this, but he said, well, the defender was in the wrong spot. He shouldn't have been there. Ron, he had an interception. He was in the right spot. He got the ball. Who are you to say the defender was in the wrong place at that time? He made a play. We all could see a screen from the stands. We all knew it was coming. And I appreciate you trying to defend your quarterback, but Carson never should have thrown that ball there. And they're actually talking to RG3 on the Sports Junkies this morning. And I can't stand Robert. I got my opinion on it. It is what it is. But he's a good analyst. He knows what he's talking about. And Robert said, I bet you all week during practice, they told Carson that this play is going to be open. And on Friday, when they're installing it, the defense was probably in that other gap that Rivera was claiming the other defender should have been. But instead, they made adjustments, and things don't go according to plan. And they made an adjustment and picked that ball off. And, we're just hoping, not trying to knock Carson. Carson got the game ball from the coach. He had a heck of a game. He is the first player, actually, here in Commanders history, the first quarterback in franchise history to throw for 4+ touchdowns in his first game with the organization.
Dang.
In there. A ton of stats on Carson here. He's the first player to throw for 4+ touchdowns since Billy Kilmer did so in 1975.
Wow.
I mean, just a bunch of different things that he did. And he had 7 interceptions last year. I hate to say it. He's probably going to throw more than 7 this year. But we're going to have to live and die with him, because that 49-yard pass he had to Terry, that touchdown, only 5 people, according to RG3, can make that throw in the NFL. And it was spot on. The defender, safety coming over, didn't have time to bat that ball down. He threw that thing on a rope. And when we were down 12-14, I could actually hear Sabah in my head calling into the different stations saying, see, this is why we never should have spent that money on Carson after he threw that second interception. See, this is why Heineke should be in there. But I'm sorry, Heineke wouldn't have been able to make that throw to Terry. There was no way in hell.
Terry or Jahan, I don't believe.
Jahan's throw was a little behind him, but I hear
it was, but the difference was it was still kind of a, what do you want to say? Instead of an arcing ball, it was kind of a ball that had some zip on it. And we know, like, we're not gonna knock Heineke, but we know that in order for him to throw a ball that deep, he has to throw it high and up and make it come down the whole 9 yards, whereas Carson can kind of throw a little harder. So that's all I'll say about that.
And that veteran presence that Carson gave us, and I know there's one play that you're going to instantly recognize, the Aaron Rodgers play, where the defense is making substitutions and those big boys can't get off enough. And next thing you know, Carson's yelling, hike the ball, hike the ball. He gets the snap, boom, too many men. So if that happened to us in the playoff game against them, you see Rodgers do it all the time. We have not had a quarterback here that has the veteran poise to do that. Maybe Cousins, but then there's that one time when Cousins took a knee when he was supposed to spike the ball. So probably not. And there was one play that's going to drive me a little crazy, and this is me being nitpicky, but we knew it was a free play. It was a offsides on the defense. Carson threw a bomb to Curtis Samuel. Curtis was double covered down the middle. Don't know why he threw it there. Terry was one-on-one on the sideline. And I'm not saying Terry would have caught the ball, but you got a free play. So give the defender or give your offensive, receiver, the guy that has a better chance of making that play, a shot. But Carson had a good game. And like I said, Coach gave him the game ball. Here's a coach talking about Carson after the fact.
We talk about value. We talk about worth. Guys, when it comes down to it, you stayed where you were supposed to stay, and that was right on the field. You stayed focused. You corrected some things. You made some things happen. And some of you guys rose to the occasion and made plays. That's huge. That's huge. I got one special one I want to give, just so everybody understands, for everything that he has gone through, for everything that he's worked for. He deserved this win. Yeah!
I know it's been a wild off season for me, for all of us, but we have so much potential in this locker room. For us to go out and do the thing we did tonight, I know it looked rough for a second. Back-to-back passes thrown to the other team, that's on me. But that's the way we finish, and that's what good teams do. You find a way to win. It ain't always going to be pretty in this league, but you find a way to dig deep and get it done in the end, and that's what we did tonight. Good job.
1, 2, 3.
You find a way to win. And the boys found a way to win yesterday. And I am just ecstatic. It's Victory Monday, or whenever you listen to it. We're 1-0. And that's all that matters.
That's right. The Commanders.
Victory!
Commanders are undefeated, brother. Would you ever think you'd be able to say that?
Never in the history of me being a Washington fan did I ever think that was going to happen. But man, it feels good. And I want to ride this high into Detroit, knowing you're going to be out there. I actually had a couple people ask me if I wanted to go out there for the game. I know we can do it, but who on your side needs to run some extra sprints this week during practice because they didn't perform how they should have against those Jags?
I hate to say it, man. 52. 52. Well, you know what? It's a mix between 52 and I gotta say, Kendall kind of upset me a little bit. So I'll say Kendall needs to do a couple extra win sprints. 52 and Kendall. Those are between my two.
Man, you gotta stop giving me two people because you're taking my other one every time.
My bad, brother. I'm sorry. But great minds think alike.
No, right there with you. And I really think that Del Rio needs to actually put 52 in better positions. You cannot have him isolated on receivers in those situations. You need to know, or you need to have a check down in the secondary, because they talk about communication. Communication is going to make this defense better. Well, the defense needs to communicate when they tell that Jamin is ISO'd on a player that is a mismatch. Shift. Call a defensive audible. These guys are supposedly good enough to do that. And maybe that's because Cam Curl's not there. But I'm sorry, Defoe, we talked about it earlier. He was your second player to wear the chain. He's going to be my first defensive player. But Defoe had 5 tackles. He actually had the highest PFF grade with 91.5. So I was concerned that Cam Curl wasn't going to be in there. But Derek Forrest, man, he made you forget about Cam Curl for a minute. He had a couple of hits and that INT that, it gives me confidence that he's able to step up and do that. But who I need to step up on my end is William Jackson III. He had 9 tackles, right? 9 tackles from your corner to me means he's playing off too much. He's given up too much ground and he's given up easy catches. And it was driving me crazy in a minute. And I don't know if it's defensive scheme and that's how he's being taught. I'm being told that he doesn't feel 100% comfortable in some of the actual defensive alignments. And he is letting his athletic ability make up for his lack of comfort. So he gives more of a cushion. But I need William Jackson to hit a couple more wind sprints in practice this week because he needs to step up next week because I need to see something more out of him because we gave up way too many passes and they were marching down the field. They made some adjustments in that second half that, like I said earlier, made me pucker a little bit.
Well, you said something that I never fully understand. How is it that you as a player can dictate to me as a coach what you feel comfortable with? Is it your defense or is it my defense? And if you can't run my defense the way that I need you to run my defense, then I need to find someone who can. Now, what's the young kid we brought in? Gooseneck? What's his name?
Wild Goose.
Wild Goose.
Talking about Wild Goose.
Wild Goose. Put Wild Goose in there and let him do it. I honestly believe, man, that when a player starts saying stuff like that, and he ultimately is the one who is the weakest link, then put him on the pine. Let him think about it and see if he can visualize himself playing the way I need him to play. That's not good, man. And we've always said it. It's 3rd and 5, and you're 9 doggone yards off the ball. When all they got to do is just throw a quick little pass and it's a first down. Come on, we don't need that, man. And I'm here to tell you, man, Detroit is going to be a tougher opponent than what we faced against the Jags.
Oh,
They just are. They just are. And so if you're not up to the task, then tap out. Tap out.
And I think it's make adjustments. And to be clear, he hasn't said that publicly. That's just what I'm hearing through the grapevine and talking to other media people around town. But what do you think we need to work on versus the Lions? What do we have to improve from this past game to make sure versus Detroit that we keep this win streak going?
Well, first off, we need to our front 4 need to do a little better job because Detroit believes in running the ball. And what's their guy name? I think is Swift.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift. Swift can eat you alive. He's going to be our toughest running back that we faced so far. I mean, we've only faced one team.
It's one game, but yeah.
But he each week it's going to get progressively better.
Oh yeah.
So okay, we passed one test and we passed it. We didn't get an A, but we back in my day it was a 70. You needed 70
a D, as far as I'm concerned. We gave up 123 yards on the ground and 6.8 yards per carry. If Doug Peterson was smart, he would have ran the ball more when
Exactly. So don't you know that the scouts for Detroit are breaking that tape down and saying, ooh, look at there. When they're in this situation, we can do this. And as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot, Detroit can walk away with a win. I don't want them to, family. So I don't want you to say, well, Cap said, no, I'm being realistic, and Detroit is a much better team than Jacksonville. They are going to capitalize on the mistakes that we made. And you heard it here first on the DMV Mess Hall. If we don't get it taken care of up front, they're going to run all over us. They just are.
It's worrisome. And I mean, I'm right there with it. The good news is our third down defense Now, this is because it's the Jaguars. This is because I had a couple of drop passes, and Trevor Lawrence looked like a lost puppy out there at times, but they were 3 for 12 on third down. So we hyped about it and griped about it during the offseason. Our third down defense has to get better, and they did get better. And one thing I was happy to see is, we talked last episode, 4 rushing is 1. I didn't see a ton of gaps for Trevor Lawrence to just step up in there and just use his legs. So the guys held their spots for the most part from what I could tell, but I am concerned, just like you are, about that rushing attack and how many yards we gave up on the ground. Swift was 15 for $144 with a touchdown and 9.6 yards a carry. And this is against the Eagles. The Eagles have a good defense. So it's not against some scrubs. And yes, it was week 1, so maybe they caught them off guard. Maybe the Eagles slept on them, saying, is Detroit, those hard knocks producers can make anybody look good. But is Detroit? This isn't your same old Detroit. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes in that next matchup. But I'm looking forward to covering that with you this Wednesday. And I'm hoping that all of y'all tune in for that, because we'll get into a little more breakdown on that Detroit game. But in the meantime, all the Commanders do is win, win, win as far as I'm concerned. And man, am I happy that we had a chance to see it in person, the first ever. And I can't wait to catch them at home in 2 weeks. But until then, we appreciate y'all jumping on with the mess hall.
Hey, we greatly appreciate it, guys. And for everyone coming to Detroit, don't forget September 17th, 2131 Woodward Avenue, Union Assembly, for the rally, the unofficial official rally from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Join us. We'd love to have you.
And I appreciate Woodward's Collectibles for hooking Rally up with that signed Fred Smoot jersey. One of a kind, man. I'm a little jealous I'm not going to be there to throw my money in the hat for that raffle.
And they also gave me a Jamin Davis autographed picture, so framed. So you guys, it's going to be $5 a ticket, or 6 tickets for $20. So, hey, it goes to a great cause, one that I stand firmly behind, and I donate every 6 weeks, and that's to the American Red Cross.
So definitely a great cause. Appreciate that. And I'm hoping Jamin Davis runs those wind sprints and makes a better performance next week, so that autograph picture can actually be worth something more than that frame. But we appreciate y'all joining the mess hall. Thank you, guys. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, leave us a voicemail, man. I want to hear you guys, hear your voice on here. It's just me and Rally talking. So next time, join us. Appreciate y'all.
And remember, guys, rep it hard or don't rep it at all. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain, and we are out.